Hey guys, can you see me? Good. Hi. Hey guys, it's CholyFlower, and today I'm actually doing a tag. Now this tag I actually have seen going around YouTube, but I never really wanted to dive into it because I figured, because of the title of the tag, that it was certain private content that I really didn't want to share. But then I actually strolled upon a channel, and I'll link it below, from Miss Gregory Gorgeous, or Gigi as she's so affectionately called. And I actually found her through, of course, no other train wreck there is out there than Trisha Paytas, but there's like a, I don't know, guilty pleasure with that, so I actually watched some of her videos. Anyway, one of her friends is Gregory Gorgeous, and yeah, he is very, and I mean in a she way, she is gorgeous. Anyway, I'm getting off topic here. So, the name of the tag is the My First Time tag. So, you can understand the reason why I stayed away from it, because I'm like, oh, not going there, and certainly not going there with the audience that, I have. But, you know what, at this point. But anyway, no, it's really not about that. So, there's a series of questions here that Gigi ran, but I'm actually going to add 3 of mine, so you can call it the CholyFlower tag at the end of that. And yes, I will be tagging a lot of my friends, and they'll probably know who they are, but that's okay, because I'm just going to go on with this. Okay, so the first question is, do you still talk to your first love? The funny thing is I still talk to a majority of, I won't say that. I won't say I talk to majority of my ex-boyfriends. I do keep in touch with some of them because some of them were actually my good friends at one time. So I guess if I had to go there, sort of, but not really a lot. Okay, what was your first job? My first job, after I took it upon myself as a young kid to bag groceries at the local grocery store, was actually as a pharmacy clerk in Pathmark. I actually got to work with the pharmacy and dole out the medications and stuff like that, and then run the register. And that actually became like a job for me after a certain amount of years, so yeah. What was your first car? Well, I don't drive. I've had a horrible fear of driving since I can remember. I've tried several times to complete and get my license, but I have only gone as far as my learner's permit. I know that's pretty pathetic coming from an adult, but yeah, driving and me have never really meshed, so I've always been in other people's cars, and I can't really remember the first car I've ever been in, so that question is kind of like moot. Okay. Who was the first person to text you today? That would be Andrea, my friend Andrea. Who was the first person you thought of this morning? Probably my daughter, because I have to get her off to school, so I'm thinking about, getting up and getting her ready and her homework and all that stuff. So my daughter is definitely the first person I thought of this morning. Who was your first grade teacher? Oh my, her name was Mrs. Portnoy. And the reason I remember her is because she loved all of us. She was a great first grade teacher, but she had a voice like this. And she would scare the bejesus out of you if you disrupted her in any way. And she would talk like this and slap you on the back. And yeah, she was great. I loved her, but yeah, I was very afraid of her. Okay, where did you go on your first ride on an airplane? On my first ride on an airplane, I went to Florida. Imagine that. Yes. I actually was moving from New York to Florida with a boyfriend at the time, and I had to travel, of course, to get there. So, yeah, Florida was my first ever plane ride. Who was your first best friend, and do you still talk? Yes, I do still talk with her. She's on my Facebook. We've been friends since we were kids. We lived in the same building. We don't get to see each other or anything like that, but we do correspond every now and again. Where was your first sleepover? Probably my cousin's house. Probably like my family. It has to be either my aunt's or my cousin's house when I was a kid. Who was the first person you talk to today? Well, if we're talking about, I would have to say Liz. Liz was my first person that I talked to today. Oh no, if it's like the first person you talk to, like after you got up, it would probably be my daughter, because she was the first first human being, like, in reality that was there with me. But if we're talking about online, yes, then Liz was the first person I talked to today. Whose wedding were you in the first time? Whose wedding was I in the first time? I really wasn't in anyone's wedding. I've been to a lot of weddings, and I don't really remember me having too much of it. I was at a girlfriend's wedding. Oh God, what a disaster this was. I did hook up these two friends of mine. They did get married, and she did have me alongside her, and I guess I was sort of like a maid of honor. Not a maid of honor, a bridesmaid, whatever you want to call it. I don't really remember, but the marriage didn't last, so that really doesn't count. So I really can't say I was really in a first marriage or wedding, whatever, what have you. Oops, I'm losing questions. Wait a second here. Okay. That's awkward. I just lost all the questions. Come on, Gigi, you can't do this to me. Okay, after wedding, we have...
Hey guys, it's Gigi.
Listen, Gigi, you need to stop talking because I need the questions. Yeah. Okay. Sorry about this, guys. I'm all like, blah, 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 blah. I did that. Oh, what was the first thing you did this morning? I woke up. Yeah. I woke up, I got out of bed, and I wrapped a blanket around me because I was cold, and then I went and got my daughter, and yeah. That's a lot of first things, but I woke up was the first thing. Yeah, that's how that usually goes. What was the first concert you ever went to? OMG! My first concert, probably, I think it was... I want to say it was Paul McCartney. I think it was Paul McCartney. My first boyfriend got us tickets. But then I want to say it was U2, because U2 was also in the same year. But I think it was Paul McCartney. Okay. First broken bone. My ankle. That was fun. I was working at a haunted house, and one of the other actors took a prop for me, and I went to go chase him, and I went up like this little bit of a hill that was slippery because it had been raining. And yeah, I slipped and I fell right into a steel pipe. And yeah, I had to wear not a cast, but I had to have it bandaged, and I used a cane, the whole 9 yards. Yeah, that was fun. Good times. Good times. First piercing. First piercing were my ears, obviously. I did pierce my tongue, but that didn't last for very long, so that was like a month. But my first piercing was my ears, and I think I was in my 20s. Yeah, I know. I did everything late. What can I tell you? I'm a late bloomer. Go figure. First foreign country you've gone to. Does Connecticut count? I have never been to a foreign country. And no, Harlem doesn't count. Brewster, New York doesn't count. Even though there's a lot of different ethnicities. The Bronx doesn't count either. So I've never been to another country. I've only been here. So sad face on that one. What? Oh God. First movie you remember seeing? Jaws. Jaws, people. I was like 8 years old and I got taken to Jaws. I don't recall. Yeah, I do recall it. See, my mom will deny it to this day, but she brought me to see Jaws, and I was a little kid, and I was scared, and it stayed with me for the rest of my life. So, yeah. Don't take your kids to see horror movies as their first movie. It's not pleasant. Anyway. So, what was your first when was your first detention? I never had detention. Ever. I don't believe I was ever told to stay after school. Ooh, what a goody-goody I was. Yeah, no, I was too shy to get into trouble. So, no, I never was at an actual detention. Who was your first roommate? Interesting. My first roommate, I guess that would end up being, yeah, my mom's friend. Yeah, that didn't work out very well. Yeah, probably my mom's friend. And her son, who had a very deep psychological disease at the time, and yeah, it was interesting, but I think that would be my first roommate. I've had quite a few between ex-boyfriends and things like that, but yeah, that would probably be my first. What were the first lessons you ever took? The first lessons I ever took? Probably judo. Yeah, like, you know, martial arts, they call it these days. Again, I was like 8 years old, and my mom put me in a... And I think I made it to a brown belt, so I did pretty good. But, yeah, judo. Who was the first person, beauty-related on YouTube, you ever watched? The first person on YouTube, beauty-related, that I ever watched was... The first person, I believe, was Miss 30 Plus Some. I do believe she was my first. Imagine that, Melissa, you were my first. I want to say that, but then at the same time, I'm trying to think if there was somebody before her. It might have been It's Kirsten. I'm not sure, or they may have been at the same time. But they were kind of like neck and neck, so I probably would go with that. Yeah. Okay, those were theirs. So now I'm going to insert my 3 because I can just do that. It's my tag, and yeah, so that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so what was your first... Hold on a second. I have it written down. Let me get that for you. Let me just da 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 la 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 la. Ooh, don't go away. I'll be right back. Peekaboo. Okay, I am back. I lied, I said 3, but I have 2. But I can make up one, right? Sure, why not? Okay, so what was your first item of makeup? Meaning, what was the first item of makeup you've ever purchased? If you can even remember that. Okay, so the first item of makeup I probably ever purchased, oh my goodness gracious, let's go back in time here, was probably like $1 lipstick. I know it was something that had to do with the lips. It was either like a lipstick or a lip gloss or chapstick or something related to the lips because, hey, let's face it, that's what we go for first as girls. We don't learn about everything else until later. So I think that would probably be my first lipstick purchase. First makeup purchase. It's going to be okay. Okay. Your first ever that you can recall favorite song, like that song that you go, oh yes, I remember my first favorite, oh yay, yay, yay. That's a difficult one for this person right here because I have quite a bit, but it's always U2's I Still Haven't Found What I'm Looking For because it brings back a lot of memories throughout a lot of years, but I always refer to it as my theme song. It definitely is. Anytime I hear it, I'm like, yep, 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 yep. But if I had to go really far back into my past and like as a kid or things like that, yeah, I could pull out all sorts of songs. But yeah, if I had to do it, it would be U2. Okay, and the last thing is the first time you recorded a YouTube video and what was it about? My first YouTube video was from here, and it was about Rite Aid. Actually, it was my first Rite Aid. I think it was my first Rite Aid haul or something like that. I'm going to link it. It was so awkward. The worst video I've ever made because I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how to be in front of a camera. I was so uncomfortable. I was so like, you could literally see it like it was all up here. I'm like, and I'm like, and whoa, yeah, and I got this, and okay. Like I don't know what the hell, I was like, slap, get out of it, wake up, what's the matter with you? Yeah. Okay guys, so that's it for my first tag. As you can see, there was nothing really that personal in nature. So I'm going to be tagging my good friends. They will be listed below, even though they'll probably know just by the little sarcasm on my face who I'm talking about. And yeah, so I'll see you guys in my next video.